All right, we got to get the little countdown because it would just feel weird without that. So here we go. Wisco, let's go. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for stopping out to the podcast. Another episode. I was keeping track in the beginning as far as what number of the episode, but I really have no clue now. It's getting up there. Jill, thanks for stopping by. Jill, she don't mess around, man. She's always the first one on here. Super appreciate you being such a big supporter and looking forward to getting that merch to you this week. Thank you for everything, Jill. Appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's swinging by. Super excited for tonight's show. Before we get too far into that, as always, got to give a huge shout out to Higher Love. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. They've been an awesome partner for the podcast and for many other things. So shout out to Higher Love. Got to stop by. Actually, they had a soft opening. I was just strolling through town today up in Menominee. Super excited to be out there Saturday. You guys are going to be impressed. Very nice crew up there. Product's awesome, and it's right on the border. Shout out to Higher Love. Make sure you use that promo code. Tom, who sent you. There's a reason they call it Higher Love. I love that saying. I'm just going to leave it right there. Danny, thanks for stopping out, man. Appreciate it. Danny, he don't mess around either, especially when he saw Hemp Fest as the topic of discussion. Susie, thank you for stopping out. Appreciate that as well. Well, let's just get things rolling right away here. I think Nick brings the great energy when it comes to cannabis reform, Hemp Fest. Just really excited to be able to share the screen with him. So let's get him in here. Nick, what's going on, my man?
Hey, man, what's going on? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for hopping out. We had that opening pop up and just happened to be scrolling through lists. I was like, oh, let's get this. Let's see if these guys are ready. And they were. So appreciate you stopping on and looking forward to helping spread the message of what you guys got going over there. So
thank you so much. It's important. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Why don't we start out a little bit? Actually, we're going to change it up a little bit. Let's hear a little bit just how you got involved in cannabis as far as like when was the day that you realized, and maybe you don't know the exact day, but when was it like, okay, this isn't just something I personally enjoy. When was it like, holy crap, I can maybe help make a difference?
You know, I think like most people who, most cannabis users, okay, you started off young, you know, as fun, like you said, just getting stoned, right? You know, going to parties and having a good time and living life, right? But I think that the moment that really struck me and to say that I want to try to make a change in the community or present change or be the change is kind of in my adulthood once I got into the workplace environment. Okay. So I won't get into my career or anything, but like I'm a white, during the day I have a career just like everybody else. And I'm a white collar professional. I work in an office every day. And one of the things that I noticed as I grew and developed in my career was I'm not just like everybody else. I don't go to my office and talk about sports every day. I don't talk about golfing every day, right? I don't talk about how the Bucks did the other night, and that's okay, right? But there's not a lot of people like me out there in that world, right? And as I got older and started having a family, okay, I took a real good look, a mature look, a reflection of my life in cannabis and what the industry was at this time still and how we've been fighting for cannabis reform in the state of Wisconsin for how long, right? Sure. And every time you hear about cannabis in the news, it's always related to crime or some negative aspect. Something negative is always associated with cannabis, right? And here I am with friends, with other people just like me, middle-class people who are using cannabis in safe ways, responsible ways, and then still going on to have great, successful families, great careers, successful careers. And I felt that in who I wanted to be growing up from this point on, at that point in my adult life, I wanted to be the walk to my talk. I wanted to be the person that was forefront and vocal to say, look, we aren't just all criminals. We aren't just doing this or that. We are everyday human beings that just want to use the flower and use the power of cannabis for various things, whether it's smoking, ingesting, using it for sustainability practices, opening up your own business. I wanted to be that person in the limelight because someone needs to be that person. And the more of us that continue to get out there in the limelight, in the center, in the picture, in the eye of everybody, the more we can break that stigma. That's why I kind of got involved with this, you know.
That's awesome, man. That's pretty much the same thing how it was for me, and I think a lot of folks, as far as like you don't necessarily have to go to like being a part of anything too huge. Like, fortunately, we've been able to find and grow and network, but it's just as important to have that mindset, like just you when you were going into your office, because I think there is so much misconception of cannabis for some reason is bad, but it's just it brings so much joy to so many people too, and it's especially in today's world. I mean, you turn on any news channel, you scroll through Facebook for more than 30 seconds, there's going to be something controversial, there's going to be uh, bickering, there's going to be whatever. Where I just always loved about the plant, whenever I was around people and were consuming it, it was always just chill. It was thinking like, man, what if we could do this, and what if we could, it kind of helps you stay that inner child a little bit, in the sense of man, we can just be happy. So I
Right.
think it's a beautiful thing that we've been able to find some way to take that to the next step, and really excited that you're in charge, or you're part of the team that's helping with the Hemp Fest. For the people,
I'm not in charge. Let's get that right. I'm not the one in charge. Trust me, I am just the face here to tell the story, right?
fair enough, man. Well, speaking of it, man, let's explain Hemp Fest to those who might not know what Hemp Fest is. Can you give us a little introduction?
Yeah,
I know a lot of us know what it is, but
yeah, what's the thing? Hempfest has been a lot of things, okay? But what it was at the root was it began in 1971 as a protest. Okay, there's lots of stories about the protest for the reason why that gathering started and who started it, but ultimately it began in 1971, and what it did was to protest the prohibition of cannabis. And it always was at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's where it started. It started with student bodies, it started with activists and real people just like us that cared, right?
sure.
In the early 1900s, throughout the 1900s, cannabis grew like weeds here, not like weeds, right?
Sure.
Here in Wisconsin, it was on every corner, it was on every in every field, and people were getting arrested for just using the plants that were sitting there in the corner. It's how it was a whole protest for that reason, and try to make sure that we work towards the legalization of cannabis since day one, 1971.
That's awesome, man. And I feel like I would. Well, I don't know if I'm ready to do the smoke out again yet, but we might be close to having to do that. So we'll keep that in our back pocket, because those guys are ballsy, man. Like, I love it, but I also love not being in trouble.
Yeah, well, and I think that though, with the decriminalization of marijuana recently in like Madison and whatnot,
that's fair.
We may be getting closer back to that, right? I know that
we're following the law, right?
right. That's what I mean. You're kind of following the law, and you can see in politics that each year we're getting closer to it. We're not there yet. That's absolutely true, but we're getting closer to those smoke-ins, I think, again. And I think that it's going to take people that want to do those kinds of things again to create change. It takes people to be willing to stand up and.
Sure, and that's a good point, because if they wouldn't have done something like that, this might not be a thing yet. So it does, like you say, it does take that to get the ball rolling. You got to be not afraid to stand behind what you're talking about. So
exactly,
I'll make you a deal. If you're down, I'm down. Fuck it, let's go. You let me know.
You know me, Bob. Let's do it.
He's like, I'm on my way. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of noise we can make this year, and to be a part to help with that. So looking forward to that. We had a couple questions coming in here. Let's see what we got. Tina says, hey there, in Platteville, Wisconsin, university has classes on agriculture and cannabis. Oh yeah, that's right. Right on.
Yep.
It's making its way around. And it looks like Javin said it also started with President Bob Kundert and the American Cannabis Society in Madison in the late 70s. Right on. I feel like I've heard that name before.
It did. Yep. There's a lot of that's kind of where I said we could talk for an hour just about the history itself.
Sure. Right. No, fair enough. Well, let's go short-term history. How about last year's festival? kind of give us a little reflection on that so we can kind of get a peek into what we're expecting to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, a little backstory about myself, I suppose, right? To get into last year was I've been going to this festival for about 12 years. Okay. I was just as an attendee. Over those years, I became friends with a woman named Ruth. And Ruth was an event organizer that had been involved with the festival since the 70s, 80s, 70s. And I became her friend over those years. Ruth is a very inspirational and motivational person. And for her to have been organizing this festival for so many years without allowing it to die, without letting it become anything else, she deserves all the recognition in the world. Okay. And she's the single-handedly why this festival is staying alive. Well, after so many years, as Ruth and everybody else was getting older, Ruth kind of was going to back out of the festival, and it wasn't going to happen again. Right? As a passionate cannabis enthusiast, along with all my friends, we decided to talk to Ruth. I talked to Ruth. I reached out to her. She's my friend. I talked to her. I said, Ruth, you can't let this festival die. You've been working for this festival over 50 years. We're not done yet. The work is not done. We got to take it over. We got to help. We got to keep this alive, Ruth. So with the blessing of Ruth, me and my friend, my business partner and lifelong friend as well, Chris Ronan, kind of stepped up to the plate with our years of experience in the entertainment industry as far as organizing events goes and being musicians in there and et cetera in the entertainment industry, having that experience. We decided to step up to the plate because if we didn't, no one would. It was going to die in all 50 years of that, of the efforts from Ruth and Ben Mazel and all the past prior activists that have dedicated their lives to this festival, this mission, this movement. It would have all been for nothing and didn't allow it to happen. So Chris and I stepped up to the plate. We talked to Ruth. Ruth let us host the festival last year. She gave us a shot with her blessing. And through that, Chris and I started the nonprofit and LLCs for our productions group and the Great Midwest Hemp Fest to keep this alive. So last year was our first year. And we have extensive experience. We won't go into all that, but we were so grateful and fortunate and lucky to have the support of our communities in Milwaukee and Madison last year. That in our first year, we saw over 7,000 attendees. It was incredible. Wow. Really, really was incredible to see them all in one day. So last year was great. You know, we had Rob Perro involved with the ICIA. We had Senator Melissa Agard speaking at our rally at the Capitol grounds. For the first time in something like 30 some years, the University of Wisconsin-Madison directly supported our event. And awesome. They did that by hosting a UWM vendor booth on site for educational purposes.
Oh, cool.
And then, the program director, Shelby Ellison of UW-Madison, she spoke at our festival as well. So it was really cool to see that for the first time, over 30 years, we had all this support and we had never done this, you know, and even UDM got on board with our mission statement. So it was it was an amazing year last year. And all I can say is buckle up for this year, right? Because we're growing and expanding.
Right. Felt that, man. When it comes to Ruth, we got to give a shout out to Ruth. That's awesome. That's my girl. You know, she's been pushing through and I'm sure it's got to get, you know, I've only been like pretty vocal about it as far as like this whole legalization and everything, pretty vocal for a few months. And a lot of people point out, and I've done a good job of like, no, that's not how it works. But people will be like, well, doesn't it get frustrating that like, you know, you can't see the change happening? And it's like, that's a point, but like, I just know inside of me, you know, it's like knowing what the plan can do, seeing how it's helped people, that it's just like, I kind of just turn a blind eye to the people who aren't doing the change yet, because it's like, in my opinion, they're just not educated enough or they don't know enough about it. So like somebody like Ruth, who's been able to keep that mindset for that long and to kind of carry it, I feel like within the next couple of years, hopefully we can get that across the finish line for her. But I think it's really neat that you and Chris took that on and we're like, we can't let this die. We got to keep this thing going. And haven't got a chance to sit down with the board that you've assembled. Very impressed with the team mentality and the team setup that you guys have. And I think you're going to kill it or keep killing it. So
Yeah,
looking
I
forward
mean,
to
I
it.
agree with everything you just said. Like, it's
Kevin.
just be so passionate for so many years, and keep doing it for so many years, and not achieving the reform, but keeping the mission alive, and keeping your eyes straight, like Ruth did for so many years. Didn't happen this year, but maybe next year. Kept working. That's the passion you need to create reform in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, we have the support in the state of Wisconsin, but like you said, we got to remember that it's important to educate, because if we can educate, that's all it is, man. It's the people who don't know about it, don't want it yet, that aren't voting for it, whether they're at home or at the voters' booths or in an office in the White House somewhere. It's people that they're uneducated,
Right.
and that's what we need to keep doing, man. You're absolutely right on what you just said.
Even if we only, I'm sure it's more than a handful, but anybody who's able to stumble across the event that might not have their mind made up on if they support it or not, I feel like, knowing that there's somebody's mind that you're able to change by showing what a group of coming together, and that, like, that's what really is kind of the building block to keep it rolling. So I feel like
and yeah, and you have to remember that it's a family thing too. This is not just this is for everybody. This reform isn't just for users of cannabis, So, and that also comes on the education. It's about the sustainability of our state, I mean, and creating a greener future for our kids. You're going to have a kid soon, I think, Bob, right? I have a kid, right?
Yep.
It's about their generation. It's not about us anymore, man. We're out the door. We got to think about the next generation. We got to think about our kids. And that's what it's all about.
100%, man. Love it. Love it. We got a hey in there from Paul. Thanks for swinging by, buddy. Kevin, hey, what's up, my man? Appreciate you swinging by. I got to move our sponsorship logo because it keeps covering up names. That's my bad. Shout out to Ignite, as always, ballers. We did have a question here from Italian Stallion. Love the name. Will THC hemp remain in Wisconsin for the time being? Any thoughts, opinions? Stayed frosty. THCA has been a godsend when you find it from the right folks. Again, being that you go to Michigan, THCA is the magical stuff in the fruit. I heard somebody just today when I was in Higher Love, and they're explaining it's basically you take the cookie dough home and you bake it, and that we finish the conversion process. But
I like that.
Right.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So I think it's awesome. Nope, yeah, I like it. So it's great for the time being. You just got to make sure the place you go into is doing it right. We've got a group of folks that we work with that we've been able to vet and see the COAs and that kind of stuff, because that's the tricky thing about the industry is there's no regulation. So you got to make sure you find people who are in it for the right reasons. We got a longer one. Let's see. We got one. We've got Richard says, Wisconsin makes a mockery of the Constitution when all states have different laws. How can we call ourselves United States of America? We're not all equal. I thought American. I hope they get sued for still judging people. And I mean, I feel the frustration, buddy. I definitely do.
We all do.
Yeah.
That's what we're fighting for. We need people like you to be talking about this. Come to our festival, show your support. That's what you just said is absolutely right. Absolutely.
And talk to one neighbor at a time. I figured that's been crazy awesome. Now that I don't know, I was really focused on like going to business and stuff, and I still am, but I just realized, in the neighborhood and stuff, well, it was nicer weather there for a minute, so that was a change of pace too. But it's like, man, I'm just feeling comfortable talking about it to anybody, I think really helps, so you can catch someone off guard. I feel like if you walk up with a pot leaf, well, I'm always wearing it, so I kind of am, but there's just some people that you just need to catch them off guard, and it's
that's
sometimes
like
walking up with a flyer doesn't work,
And that's my whole strategy. Is when I come, before I had the pink hair, okay, I had brown hair and I looked like I was in an office. Bringing up, marijuana or cannabis to someone who's in a suit next to you talking about that's at a white collar job in an office, it always takes them off guard, right? Because they're not expecting that. They're expecting the hippie, the dreaded headed guy, or whatever, to be talking about these things, and taking them off guard is the whole tactic. That's the whole point.
100%, man. Javen says, so it's in the park this year. Do you march up State Street and gather on Capitol steps? Back in the day, weed would be thrown out into the crowd then.
I don't know how you got that information unless you went to the website already and got that. That'd be great if you did. So if you haven't, go to yourhempfest.org. That's yourhempfest.org. You can get some information from our website that we released. We haven't released too much information on this year, okay? However,
fair enough.
Yes, we will not deter from what this festival always has been and always will be until we achieve reform in the state of Wisconsin. So yes, There absolutely is going to be a march to the Capitol grounds this year. And who knows? This year we may be able to have some floats or parade gear. We'll see. We'll see. We'll just have to wait for some announcements. I don't know yet. I don't know.
All right, fair enough, man. Not gonna lie, I thought parades were well, it was cold on Sunday, but I was excited after being in my first parade. Shout out to DNA Hemp. I didn't even I was just a part of them, and it was really neat. So
I love DNA Hemp. Ashley over there. Shout out to Ashley and all the girls over there. I love those guys.
Yep, love them guys too. And maybe we could figure out something with. I bet you we could talk to some folks about THCA. I'll talk to you about that. I think we got a few tricks up our sleeve, so stay tuned on that. Waldo always got great content coming into the comments here. Says a number of states are in the works of legalizing psilocybin for trials and research. Do you think Wisconsin will do this before we legalize cannabis? What about ketone? I don't know. They're really confusing. I do feel like part of it is, I don't know. I have no clue. It's the fact that it's taken this long with cannabis. That's really hard to say, man. Shout out to Mohican he said, I got to educate some at the VA today when I got my annual physical that cannabis is medicine. Attaboy.
Good job.
Mohican. He won a shirt playing not just any hangman, but Bobby Bean's hangman. And I was under the influence of cannabis. So spelling and guesses, it was shout out to him, man. You don't mess around. We had a couple other folks reach out with some questions over the last couple of days. I heard some rumors that there's not just going to be like the fest, but also some community events coming up. Is that a thing? Are we kind of stretching?
Yeah, absolutely. So, going into 2024, there's a lot of changes. We're trying to realign ourselves with our community. Okay. We are a nonprofit. There's no doubt about it. And our festival is a protest festival. There's no doubt about it. Okay. We work for our communities. That's why we exist. We are here to be your advocate, your voices. We're here for you. Okay. And so a part of that going into 2024, trying to be better, growing and expanding. We are going to be doing a series of community events pre-festival, okay? For us starting in June all the way through September, right up to the date of the festival, okay, which is September 27th, 28th, and 29th, okay? 28th and 29th will be the actual festival date. The 27th of September will be another pre-festival kickoff event. It's going to be a big deal. I'm not going to spill any beans. If I did, I know Chris would kick me in the butt. But I'm not going to spill any beans, but it's a big deal to keep your eyes out what's going to be happening on Friday, September 27th. But yeah, all of our community events are going to be free, all ages, some vendors, some music, some speakers, Bob, right? I think because we're getting Lives of Wisconsin involved, right?
Yes.
Some speakers I think you got booked up in there.
Oh, yeah. Maddie, I won't give out too many details yet. I'm excited, though, about I'm excited about that. I'm catching on. Like it's better when you actually got like the full information. So we'll hang tight.
No, it is good, and we're gonna release that soon. Like I said, right in the next couple of weeks, we'll have all this information released to everybody. And it is hard to not talk about, so I don't blame you. It's a big deal.
It's exciting.
These community events are gonna be fun. You know what I mean? June 8th, let's say that's our biggest one. That's the one I kind of want to talk about at least at first because that's our kickoff pre-festival event and. That's the biggest one that we're going to have downtown Milwaukee at City Lights Brewing. Okay.
Love it.
City Lights Brewing is an amazing brewery and it's right on the Milwaukee River, downtown Milwaukee, right next to Four Seasons Skate Park. We're going to be trying to have a motorcycle show. So people who have vintage motorcycles or custom motorcycles can sign up, get involved. We'll be judges and a trophy and a prize. We're going to have over 15 vendors. We're going to have bands along the river, a DJ on the loading dock. We'll have a photo booth. It's going to be nuts, man. I can't even tell you. But it's free. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And, that's it, man. That's the day to come if you want to learn about Hemp Fest, try to get involved, learn about being involved. These are all important things because our nonprofit only exists by the support of you guys.
I feel that, man. That's I love it. I love to hear that you're adding to the kind of lineup of what you're bringing and what you're offering to the communities and that it's kind of leading up to and kind of building that, building the momentum. I think that's an awesome idea. Burton said, what day is that? Do you know what day June 8th is? Is that?
It's a Saturday.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Maybe we can get a maybe we can, if you got enough people wherever you're located, maybe we can figure out a bus situation.
I
Um,
mean, yeah,
let's figure it out. Looking
be
forward to
great.
it. Dawn says, any plans for an event around the GOP convention in Milwaukee in the late summer? I have a
So,
couple potential ideas, but what do you got cooking, Nick?
we did not plan anything around that specifically. It's going to be a crazy time in Milwaukee. Anybody who lives in Milwaukee knows that that time is going to be nuts. Okay. And so we know the demographic and what's going to happen around there. I don't think us trying to compete with events during that would be in our best interest. However, we do want to be active in participating in events during that time, getting out there and talking to everyone, because our effort is definitely it's bipartisan. This is not a Republican thing. This is not a liberal thing. This is not a Democrat thing or libertarian. This is a Wisconsin issue, right? So, and we recognize that whether you're Republican or Democrat or liberal, you may still be active for cannabis reform, and so we want to make sure that we're involved in those kind of events as well. But nothing that we can release yet. This is all part of our releasing information coming up soon.
Right on. I definitely, now that I think of it, because I was like, man, it'd be cool to get like a sign in there. So maybe we got this is a me thing, but I could come up with a sign that looks very nice for wherever we're going to talk, but then I like peel back a layer and then it's just like, let's say guys, Wisconsin or something.
I'll go with you, man. You want to go down to the Milwaukee Convention? I'm coming with you.
I've been down there. They just had a couple folks stop out to Green Bay, in the years, and I'd go out to both sides. I don't know, just for some reason, like to see how this stuff works, and so yeah, I would definitely be interested to see what this Milwaukee thing's like. We might have to figure that out. So,
have you ever been to a convention in Milwaukee during like a DNC or any of those kind of things?
no,
Man, it's nuts, dude. I'm telling you. My father was a 30-year motorcycle cop for Milwaukee County, and he was in charge of all of the traffic and all the cops are in this. And I'm telling you, you don't want to live in Milwaukee during this time. It's nuts, man.
I'll take your word for it. We'll definitely be looking to Uber or something. So when it comes to a big event like this, and trying to make all this cool stuff happen, I'm going to assume there's an opportunity for like partnership sponsors, vendors. I know I saw you guys are working with Fat Nugs already. Shout out to Fat Nugs.
That's great.
Right?
Yeah,
Can you
I
just
love
touch
that
a
guy.
little bit on what that looks like and how people can kind of get involved in that kind of way?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm sorry. Can you reiterate the question one more time? I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. Just knowing how big of a setup this has to be, and let alone like getting people to one spot, but then also coming up with the people, the vendors, and the partners to pull something off like this.
Yeah.
What are some opportunities and that you have out there as far as how that kind of stuff can work?
Yeah, I mean, so organizing a large scale event like Hemp is a huge challenge for anyone. Okay, and first and foremost, it takes community support. Okay, so we need to always make sure that we're representing our community and being the voice for our community. That's number one. The second thing is we need a team of professionals. This is not just me and Chris, okay? I know I mentioned me and Chris were the initial ones who got involved with trying to take this from organize this event on behalf of Ruth and in honor of Ruth. But at this point in the planning stages of HempFest, where I think we're a 15 plus team, of industry professionals from accountants to graphic designers to brand advisors to insurance agents. I mean, you name it. We're all industry professionals, and first it takes that. The second biggest thing it takes to organize an event like this is going to be funding. Okay, as a nonprofit, we can't just privately fund this festival. It takes the work of dedicated and passionate cannabis enthusiasts, whether that's just everyday voters that are voting at the booth that care about reform in Wisconsin, that are donating to our nonprofit, or it's brands and companies and other nonprofits getting involved. The festival is not free. It costs money, and so the funding is like probably the most important part. But in order for us to provide an inclusive and immersive, fun experience for all of Wisconsin to connect to and feel a part of, and feel like they're doing their part in the cannabis culture, we need you guys to come to the festival too. That's what it takes. Getting the word out there, getting the communities involved, getting the support of our brands.
And I can attest just from the hearing some stories of businesses and stuff. I mean, it is definitely a great opportunity to interact with the people that are the large amount of people that are going to be there. So it's not just the upfront financial, but it's also the to help with the event and that. But it's really a great chance for you to get your image, you yourself. Not It's hard sometimes when you're talking billboards and stuff, like they're all great, they serve a purpose, but I feel like hands on, that's like where you can really get some connections. And what better place
and then let's not be real. Why our festival was created was to provide the platform to the people that can create the change, that want to share their stories, that want to connect with the people. We are creating and providing that platform to those individuals so they can get the message out to a broader demographic. If whether you're a politician, you have a personal experience about cannabis that's emotional and touching that people should hear, whatever your point is or purpose is in the industry or towards cannabis reform, our festival is simply the platform to support our community. I keep repeating that, but I mean, that's really what we are. We support our community. We're the voice for you. We're the voice for Wisconsin voters. And that's why we exist. And so without your support, without people stepping up, without people donating, without people wanting to share the stories or, be that face, we don't have a festival. We just have music on a stage, and the music and all the vendors and stuff, that all exists just to break this stigma, to get people to the event, to be educated, learn about cannabis, and know that it's a good thing. Whether you're a user or not, it's a good thing.
Love it. We've also got, I was playing around on the website before we got on here, your website. We also got some pretty cool merch to help support. I would assume that if people buy a shirt, some of that's going to be going to the Hemp Fest as well. Am I right in
that? Yeah, absolutely. So
let me get that on here. Check this out, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you got to definitely bring it up. My favorite's
there we go.
That's our mascot, the cow. It's my favorite.
Right, the cow's the bomb. Love it.
Maybe we should have a contest to name the cow because we don't have a name for our mascot yet. Maybe we should host something for that. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 100% of the proceeds and from the sales of these shirts are going to be going right back into the festival. Last year we had these shirts only on festival grounds on site that one day for sale, and they sold out like seriously within 2 hours. So we were like, okay, this year we're in 2024. We need to make sure that it's on the website because people are loving this. And 420 is coming up. This is a great way just to support us and wear your merch for 420. I'm telling you, it's dope. I'm not sure if you can zoom in on some of that shirt.
Let's see if it was. Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes, I love
the cow's my favorite. I love the cow.
Oh, dude, I didn't see that. They were.
Yeah, the cows are great, man. The cows are our mascot, but we got to figure out a name for it.
I love it. Flower to the people, man. Boom. That's it right there. It's
all about community. Goal. We're here for you. Flower to the people.
Love it. No, I love the cow though. It's man, now I'm thinking of a name. I'm getting off track. Okay. Get off of that, Bob. Don't worry about the name right now. We got shit to do. Pete says, sorry, I'm late to the party, gentlemen. No worries, buddy. Appreciate your support.
Green Hemp Company.
Cool. Yeah. Good stuff over there in Pewaukee. Javin.
Nice.
Yep. Javin says, love this year's shirt. Yes, I agree. Tina says, awesomeness. Molo on YouTube says, flower to the people. Love it.
Flower to the people.
Let's get it. Let me get back. Now I want to just buy shirts. Can you touch a little bit on the role of Hemp Fest for cannabis legalization and policy reform, as far as how could we? So, like, I know we're gonna be working on getting a few politicians out there and stuff, and you're working on education. There's a couple more things you guys got cooking this year. Something with I believe with Agard's petition and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, so the legislation advocacy is four focus this year. You know, in our first year, we made sure to mention it and make sure that we stayed aligned with our motivations and our values and our mission statement. But you know, going into 2024, we really see the opportunity with this being an election year, of course, right, Bob?
Yep.
For reform, we feel like this year's our year, right? This is our
Sure.
year, Bob. We can achieve reform this year as long as the voters are out there voting for it, as long as our politicians are hearing us, you know, this year. I think that this is the year to do it. But that takes a recentering and a focused emphasis on the legislation advocacy in relation to our festival and our mission statements, right? And one of the ways that we're tackling this head on this year is by partnering with you, Bob. You know, you're I think you mentioned it to me again, and I love bragging about it because I think we're friends now too. But I think it's cool. You're like the only you have a lobbying license. You're the only cannabis activist with a lobbying license in Wisconsin or something, right?
The only one that they say they've seen. So, because I feel like there's got to be more than just that.
Right,
But,
right. But like that seems so cool.
right.
That seems
No, it
so
does, dude.
cool.
And I was
So
really excited when we crossed paths, or when you reached out and we started talking, because it was like, you know, especially when you bring it up with how important I think it could be, or it is this year, with at least there being some talk of cannabis legalization from both sides, that, you know, it is going to take kind of that hyper focus on, and that's kind of what we do, obviously, is trying to really watch the legislative moves and talk to the people. We're going back to Madison again next week. Looking forward to that. Add a few to the list where, man, I planned a little event for, like, I think 75 people showed up with Lebowski Fest, and that was stressful. That was time consuming. So you guys being able to focus on that, and then partnering up and working together, I'm really excited. Like, it's probably been the biggest thing to happen yet for me. So really looking forward.
And that's just it, though. You know, knowing your strengths, right? Knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at, right?
Sure.
And what we learned this year is we need to get more people involved, more organizations involved, more nonprofits involved that align with us, that can work together, because none of us are going to be able to achieve this by ourselves individually.
Right.
You know, I need you, you need me, we all need each other, right? And so that's part of it, right? Is providing you and other nonprofits with a space to get your message out there, provide educational materials, and create challenging conversations with lawmakers and policymakers and voters alike in the same atmosphere. So, you know, that was part of it. That's part of our focus. And, you know, last year with Senator Melissa Edgar talking at our festival, and she was a huge supporter of our festival last year. And we want to continue supporting her message going into 2024. And we're doing that by supporting her petition for cannabis legalization that she's been advocating for years. Anybody who's in this industry knows Melissa Edgar because she's our savior. You know, she's the one speaking for us in the meetings. She's there for us, and that's another way that we're supporting that legislation and advocacy this year.
Love it.
Additionally, and you know, you kind of influenced us to do some of this, but we're attending conferences and speaking events to hear from leaders like Rob Harrell, you know, who are in the movement and making waves in the industry, you know, leaning on the expertise and experience of both marginalized groups and activists alike, you know, who know about cannabis topics more than me, you know, or any of us. And you mentioned earlier the smoking. Okay.
Yep.
So one of the things my team really wanted us to talk about and get back to, because you brought that up, I thought it was really cool. We plan to host a smoking call sessions where volunteers can get together to call senators and voice their support for cannabis legislation. So we're getting back to our roots, Bob. That's what we're doing.
Let's go.
Legislation advocacy. Get back to the
roots.
That's
what it takes, right? I see what you did there. Play on words. The roots.
Yep.
Get it? It's bland.
Yep.
We got our first name submission from Mohican, and he wins contest, as I told you. Hempretta, the Holstein. I like it.
Hempretta. I love that. That's a good one. I'll have to write that down.
It rolls off the tongue. Jay checking in from Black River Falls. What's up, my man?
Hey,
Sassy
Jay.
Pants. There's Susie. She's late. That's okay. I wonder if I could talk to somebody over there. Oh, where was that? I missed that, Tina, where you were talking. Dawn says that ability. Oh yeah. Somebody was asking. Oh, here we go. Javin was asking, can Wisconsin voters put legalization on the ballot with a petition like in some other states? Unfortunately, not at the moment. That was taken away. They played it as it brings out one or single issue voters is the reasoning behind why that happened. But actually, I just had this thought today because that's always eaten at me since I learned about that happened. But don't you want any and everybody to show up to vote? So if you
Right.
can, that's I'm ready to fight that battle now. So stay tuned for that.
I'm worried.
Waldo says, "Are children allowed at Hempfest?" I believe you said they were.
So, I mean, it's technically all ages, right? Of course, but we need to keep in mind that people are going to be around smoking, okay? And so it may not always necessarily be the most appropriate place for a child, but we do have areas of our grounds that it's an all ages festival, right? We try not to deter anyone, we don't advocate for smoking use on site, on property grounds, right? Because it's still illegal. We can't advocate for public smoking, but I also can't say that there won't be people doing that. And as a parent myself, earlier in the day is usually when we find the time to bring our children is the best. This year, our festival will be going until 9 p.m. Probably wouldn't say that it would be child friendly later on in the night. But during the day, of course, please bring your children. It's in a park. It's in James Madison Park this year. Again, you can go to our website, yourhempfest.org, and see that all the information about times, days, location. James Madison Park is a family park, and we and it's a free public event. So we want our families to feel safe being there. So
Awesome.
Yes, it is technically all ages.
Right on. Tina was saying, I wonder if I could talk to someone over here at the university. That'd be awesome, Tina.
That would be awesome. That's over at Platteville, right? She was saying, right? Is that
Yep,
the one?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Correct.
I saw that last year that they started implementing that hemp program over there. It's really cool that forward. It's really forward thinking. That's great. I really love to see that.
Right. Javin points out, and yeah, it is pretty cool. Public smoking is legal in Madison. Anywhere you can smoke a cigarette, you can smoke a joint. That is something that would be dope in Green Bay. Let's see. We had a couple more questions that we're rolling through. Can you discuss just a little bit, because I'm sure there's a lot to it, but the challenges of organizing a large scale event, and also just from the context of like legal and societal constraints? We're going to guess that's where some of the larger hurdles come from when it comes to trying to really piece this together and making sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. It takes the team effort. Has there been anything you kind of learned over coming into your second year as far as the challenges go?
Yeah. I mean, so like most of the challenges are getting everyone involved in the community, right? I think there was, for whatever reason, in Wisconsin, a little bit of a battle between cannabis organizations, nonprofits, and brands, where they almost kind of seemed like they were fighting against each other for a while. Or working against each other. I don't know if fighting is the best word for it, but working against each other. Everybody wanted a cannabis reform, but everybody wanted to do it in their own way, right? Sure. I think the biggest hurdle, besides the funding and everything we talked about, community support earlier, the biggest hurdle was trying to get everybody on the same page. I mean, getting that message that, hey, we all want the same thing, whether you want it complete legalization with no regulation or you want regulation. There was an issue and back and forth with people on how was the best approach to go about this. And sure. We are still struggling with that today because, as I keep saying, we are only here to support the community's voices. So our biggest issue or hurdle is trying to listen to everybody who wants one thing or another, and then trying to figure out a way that we can bring it in order to one spot, in one place, in one vision. And I think for the first time this year, I mean, out of the 2 years, last year we worked towards that, but a lot of people wanted to see results out of us. Okay, they didn't want to invest in us before they knew what to expect. Sure. And for the first time this year, going to 2024, I really feel like we're starting to see that community back together, joining together. I mean, me and you, our organizations are coming together. the Wisconsin farmers, hemp farmers and manufacturers association. Philip, I know that he's been on here before. I were working with him again this year,
Yep.
and we didn't get a chance to work with them last year. So I'm really excited that they're trusting of us to try to work with us again this year. The ICIA is now also working with us again this year. All these big name organizations are starting to work with us, and they're because what we're just trying to support. That's all we're trying to do, and I think they're starting to see that we're not trying to lead or take credit for anything. We only are here to be a community, and building that hemp and cannabis community in Wisconsin has been the biggest obstacle, I think.
Right on. I can see where that would be. Finding, like you kind of said, like finding where we can all best help, best be conducive to keeping this thing moving forward. And I think having an event of this scale is kind of the cream of the crop of events. Obviously, so being able to just figure that out and to, like you say, kind of keep the peace. Like this is the place to come to. Just okay, we're working together. Not necessarily like it has to be done this way or that way. Let's just get out. Let's get it talked about.
Right.
Right. So I love to hear that. Javin said normal question mark. Unfortunately, there's not a Wisconsin accredited normal in the state. Sassy pants. I love saying your name. Susie, she is crazy awesome. Hope all is well. Hope everything's going well with your brother too, Susie. It is not on 420. It is on the 28th through the 29th of September.
Yep.
We got a couple links in the information here. I'll be sharing a link to the page as well. Luis is checking in from Green Bay. Hey, what's up, buddy? Neighbor. And if you guys had any questions that are listening in, please make sure you get those in here quick because I only got one left. I know we could talk all night, but we got to save that for some future announcements. So kind of just wrapping up here on my side, Nicholas, how to get involved. We kind of touched on it, but let's maybe just wrap up with like the practical ways listeners can support, get involved with HempFest and the cannabis advocacy efforts.
Yeah, I mean, like I keep saying, you guys are the public, the voters, Wisconsin residents. Whether you guys are why we're here. You're why we exist. I mean, you're the most important part of all of this. We are only trying to support you and your voice. So if you're a passionate cannabis enthusiast or sustainability enthusiast, because our festival is not just about cannabis, it's just about agribusiness. It's sustainability and equity and equality. So if you're a social activist of any kind and you care about supporting our movement, our nonprofit, our festival, there's a lot of ways you can get involved. And one of those ways is go to our website, yourhempfest.org. I've mentioned that a few times here, but from there, you'll be able to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We'll have, through our website, you'll be able to find Melissa Agard's petition you can sign. I'm telling you, that's going to be work wonders, and it's really helpful. But Bob also mentioned it earlier, our merch. I mean, go help. What was the cow name that the gentleman came up with today?
Hempretta the Holstein.
So go to our website, yourhempfest.org, and go to our merch site and buy some merch of the cow. I can't even say Holstein. I can't even, buy some of those merch. Buy a sweater. Buy a shirt. Like I said, all the proceeds from those sales of those shirts and our merch is going to go directly back into our festival. And again, that money is how we fund our festival. It's how the festival exists and how it happens. So that's the most important part. 420 is coming up anyways, and these are some dope merch, man. Just go out, buy the shirt. Really
right on. Oh, where are we going to be on 420? X-Ray Arcade, is it?
X-Ray Arcade, Milwaukee Record.
That's awesome.
He's hosting a canna market, and we're gonna be sharing a table there. So handing out some education materials, selling some shirts, trying to get the word out there.
Looking forward to that.
And that kind of lead on up to was like saying we attend some pre-festival events. That was how you could also get involved because through that festival, we're gonna be doing some fundraising there. You buy some shirts there, and that's also gonna help. And then just sign up on our website for volunteer work. That's we have a tab on our website for volunteer. We need volunteers for our festival.
Love it. Spreading the word, or spreading the word about you going to. Yeah, I'm really excited. It's gonna be it's gonna be dope. Looking forward
I
to
think
it.
it's incredible this year. I mean, I really we didn't get to talk about the festival today, and that's okay. But there's a reason for it, and you guys are all gonna want to wait to hear about it. I'm telling you,
Right.
it's gonna be epic this year. It's gonna be renowned. It's gonna be renowned.
Looking forward to it, man. Definitely. Susie says she's slurping on a medicated hot chocolate. That a girl.
Oh,
Love
word.
it. Italian Stallion says he is gonna come out. Let's go. On wait.
What?
What's he saying? You get him, Italian. Burton says I'm gonna need a tolerance break before 420. Fair enough, man. Chelsea says thank you guys for what you're doing. Absolutely, we love doing whatever we can to push this message forward. So really excited, Nick, that we've already started that partnership, and something tells me it's going to be a lot of events coming up. But I'm looking forward to the first couple ones, the big one obviously in Hemp Fest, and yeah, guys, we're going to do this. We're going to have fun. We're going to start out as best we can as playing by the rules and everything. Obviously, that's the goal.
Right.
And if that, we'll address that at a later date if things aren't starting rolling. But when is the march on that Sunday? Yes, it would be the September 29th.
Yeah, that's my favorite part, to be honest, because that's where all of our focus comes down into the festival. It really shows it. And that march is at 4:20 p.m. We'll leave in our festival grounds to go to the Capitol grounds. And once we get to the Capitol grounds, can't talk too much about it, but we'll have speakers there. I think I feel safe to say it. But Bob, you're going to help us lead that festival rally at the Capitol grounds this year.
Yep.
Last year we had the first ever in Wisconsin history drag show, the performance on the Capitol grounds before we had our speakers. So this year, hoping to do some more big stuff, some more historical stuff there. So when the big crowd of thousands of people show up to the Capitol grounds, we're gonna have a band or artist performing of some sort there for you guys, and we'll have some really big speakers. So 4:20 p.m. Sunday, September 29th.
Let's go. This Tina, I'm actually got a contact. We're working on. I didn't share this with you yet, but there's a couple really close guys. I think they were. Oh yeah, Madison area, and they're glass blowers, and they're all right. Like they live and breathe all day, every day next to each other. Yeah, if we could figure out a way to get those guys involved with some live glass blowing, that'd be very crazy. So.
On them in, got them. This year, one of the biggest things that we want to do this year in 2024 is have more art. We want to have a whole section of our festival grounds just dedicated to art. Support the local artists because art is activism, right? So
Definitely.
we get some glass blowers out. Reach out to us. Promise you, you're in.
Definitely, dude. And the one guy I've seen a couple pieces he does, and there's like a farm and then a cow. So maybe we can figure something out. So get a little piece of the cannabis in there. So, all right. Well, hey, Nick, I really appreciate you hopping on and getting a chance to kind of start explaining something as awesome as what is Hemp Fest and what is coming up this year. Excited to be a part of it. Excited that we've got some community events planned before that we'll get to be a part of, and just look forward to meeting folks and getting some of the followers to meet you in person and see what this is all about. So appreciate everyone's time.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor, Bob, always. And I really appreciate just your involvement with Hemp this year. Thank you so much for everything.
Absolutely, my man. Anytime. All right, guys. I hope everyone has a great night. It's getting a little chillier out there again, so make sure you bring your lighter with you. Everyone have a great night. We are